It's the Agribusiness Report. I'm Tony St. James. We're joined today by the Honorable Jasmine Crockett, who represents the 30th Congressional District of Texas. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Well, welcome to Washington, D.C., and welcome to the House Ag Committee. It's like jumping into the fire, isn't it?
It absolutely is, especially for me. As someone who came in as a legislator, I definitely thought, let me go this way or that way. And I was going for the things that were definitely within my comfort zone. I can honestly say that I am not a green thumb girl at all. So definitely did not think that ag was the place that I would land. But I feel so honored and blessed to serve on the ag committee.
Now, my first opportunity to really see you in action, if you will, was in Waco at a House Ag Committee listening session. How good was that to be able to just sit back and listen?
No, it was phenomenal, and it's something that most people aren't used to lawmakers or politicians at all ever doing, which is listening. But what most people need to understand is that once we're elected, we don't have superpowers. We don't automatically become omniscient or something. Instead, it is a learning process, and we need to listen. I think that that's probably one of the things we're missing in politics right now is more people just willing to listen to their constituents and find out what are your issues and trying to come up with solutions for those issues. We are supposed to be problem solvers. And so I don't think that it makes sense for me to serve on the Ag Committee knowing that I didn't grow up on a farm, but knowing that I love to eat and not taking the time to kind of listen to every single aspect of farming and agriculture in general in this country and trying to figure out where are their problems and what is it that I can do to solve those problems.
In a way, you come in with no preconceived notions then,
Absolutely.
Which means you can ask any question and you don't know the answer. Is that that's a positive thing, isn't it?
That is a positive thing. Yeah, I've done more learning on this committee than I've done on my other committee for sure.
Well, let's talk about the writing of the Farm Bill. We're reauthorizing it'll be the 2023 Farm Bill. And as part of that is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. What are you watching there?
I'm watching to make sure that there aren't even more devastating cuts that take place. What most people don't understand is that SNAP isn't about this image of what you believe a person on SNAP looks like. You know, we have thought about trying to basically reimagine SNAP, right, and showing members of Congress that have benefited from SNAP, whether it was them directly that were receiving the benefits or them receiving them because their parents were on SNAP when they were younger, just so that people won't have kind of this negative notion about it. The reality is that we need it to survive overall. And when I say we, in a developed nation like we are, it is kind of abysmal to say that people should go hungry. We throw away so much food in this country, so no one should ever go hungry. Not to mention when we start talking about rural America and our farmers and what it means for them to sustain their livelihoods, they need to know that this money is in the ecosystem, as well as our grocers, as well as those that provide the products that go on the grocery shelves. They need to know what should we anticipate for the ecosystem. And as we are trying to come out of COVID-19 and people are still struggling, we're dealing with inflation, we're still dealing with supply chain issues. The last thing that we need to do is say, hey, that $6 a day that we've been giving you, we're going to pull that away because we feel like we can balance this really big budget on that $6 a day that hopefully helps you say, you know what, I can go ahead and put the gas in my car so I can get to work because I know that I've got some money on this card so that I can eat. And another thing is that there is this misnomer or misconception that this is just inner city lazy people that are on SNAP. And the numbers show that more of rural America uses SNAP than inner city America. And so this is an all of us problem, and it touches each of us. And honestly, you never know who the next congressional member will be, because a mother was able to sustain herself and her family using these benefits. And so I am looking for my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to really just understand that this is really a humanity thing. This is the right thing to do for people. It's also good business, specifically for our farmers and all of our grocers.
You mentioned $6 a day and putting fuel in a vehicle to travel to the grocery store. There are rural areas that don't have grocery stores and they're 20 miles away. Then there's a place in your district, Bonton, which if you were to get on the bus, I think it's a 3-hour ride, round trip, to get to a grocery store with fresh fruits and vegetables and meat. It's a food desert.
Yeah.
Are you focused on those as well?
Absolutely. So most people don't understand that a lot of the struggles in rural America mirror inner city, lower socioeconomic issues. And so you talk about Bonton, and it just lights me up because Bonton Farms is really this amazing kind of bright spot in my district, right? But the conception for it was the fact that in my district, which is inner city, we experience food deserts. And we know that if there's a food desert, that also affects whether or not you've got positive or negative health outcomes, because our food is our medicine, right? And so it affects whether or not, say, your obesity levels. It affects, and honestly, we know how many illnesses come along with obesity. And so we know that you have a higher likelihood to end up in the hospital. So it's bigger than just the fact that, hey, I've got to eat, Fritos instead of necessarily having an apple. We're talking about your life expectancy. We're talking about my kiddos and the lack of the development, the full development of their minds. We know that food is so much more crucial to those itty-bitty minds to make sure that they are learning and maximizing their learning opportunities. And so it's a big issue in rural America as well as urban America. And when we look at it, it comes down to profits, right? And I'm not against anybody making money. I mean, I'm not against that. We live in a capitalist society for sure. But I can't force a grocer to come in when they say, hey, looking at these numbers, we just can't make the profits. We will go under. But there should be other options. And so, we're hoping that we can get legislation passed that would allow for co-ops to be able to invest in themselves and say, you know what, we don't have the money ourselves, but if we can go and get this loan, then maybe we can fill in the gaps and help out in some of these food deserts and better the health outcomes for our communities. That way, we're not relying upon, say, this for-profit organization to come in, this for-profit organization that has never wanted to come in, right? Because if they did, they would have been there. It's crucial, and we know that when you're looking at a food desert, you're also dealing with the health deserts as well as the educational deserts. Like, people end up leaving because they just don't have access to the basics that they need.
It's so exciting visiting with you. So excited that you're a member of the House Ag Committee from Texas. We wish you the very best. Will you come back and see us?
Absolutely.
Again, it's the Honorable Jasmine Crockett. She represents the 30th Congressional District of Texas. Joins us on today's Agribusiness Report.